Good morning, students. Before we go to the further studies of vectors and the properties of vectors, let us solve one numerical problem. This problem was asked by Karthik. The problem is related to the one-dimensional motion, that is previous topic, motion in a straight line. To solve that problem, I need to define one important concept. Somehow I don't know, I skipped that. Now it's good that Karthik had asked me that question so that I can cover that the concept, very important concept, that is called stopping distance. Stopping distance. What is stopping distance? Suppose you are moving in a vehicle and you are driving a vehicle or you are riding a bike and you are approaching a school zone. Suddenly a child rushes on the road, then you have to apply the brake. The moment you apply the brake, the vehicle doesn't stop immediately at the same point. It covers certain distance. The distance covered by the vehicle after completely applying the brakes is called as stopping distance. Stopping distance is the distance covered by a moving vehicle after applying the brakes. After applying the brakes is called as stopping distance. The distance covered by a moving vehicle when it is applied with brakes is called as stopping distance. I am going to denote this stopping distance by ds. ds to indicate stopping distance. Here the vehicle is going to stop completely. So final velocity of the vehicle becomes 0. Let u be the initial speed with which the vehicle is in motion. The vehicle undergoes retardation after applying the brakes. Before applying the brakes, let u be the speed. Finally, the vehicle is going to stop. So final speed becomes 0. Let us assume that the vehicle undergoes uniform retardation. Definitely it is retardation because the speed is going to decrease. Instantaneously it is going to decrease to a smaller and smaller value and finally the speed becomes 0. Let us assume that it is uniform retardation and it takes negative sign. A takes negative sign. Then we want to calculate the distance ds. So we can use third equation of motion. V square minus u square is equal to 2as. Instead of s, I am taking ds. ds to show that it is stopping distance. V square minus u square is equal to 2a ds. So, substituting the value of final speed v equal to 0. Initial speed, let it be u as we have assumed, that's equal to 2 times minus a ds. As I said, a takes negative sign. So minus minus cancels. So ds, stopping distance ds is equal to u square upon 2a. U square upon 2a. This is very important. This stopping distance is directly proportional to square of the initial speed with which the vehicle is moving before the brakes are applied. And ds is inversely proportional to the deceleration. More rapidly the brakes are applied. Means it depends on the braking power, the braking ability of the vehicle, moving vehicle. More rapidly the brakes are applied, more rapidly the vehicle stops, the distance covered will be shorter. Nowadays you must have experienced the vehicles with disc brakes, two-wheelers, especially two-wheelers with disc brakes. Disc brakes are purposely designed, fitted now in order to have this shorter stopping distance. The moment you apply the brakes, the vehicle stops immediately without covering much of the distance. That is the advantage of disc brakes. The earlier drum brakes, the drum brakes will stop the vehicle by taking certain distance. By that time it will cover certain distance. So that is the meaning of stopping distance. Now you see, it is calculated for various values of initial speed. If initial speed is say 11 meter per second, if you convert this into kilometer per second, 11 into 5 by 18, sorry, 11 into 18 by 5. So it comes out to be nearly 5 ones are 5 2.5 you will get nearly 10 meter of distance covered. If the vehicle is going with 11 meter per second, 11 into 18 by 5. So if you take approximately 10, then it becomes 5 ones are 5 twos are. So it will be more than 36 km per hour. If the vehicle is nearly moving with, let us say 40 km per hour or 36, 37 km per hour, even then after applying brakes, it will be covering 10 meter of distance before it stops. If the vehicle is moving with 15 meter per second, 15 into 18 by 5, 18 by 5, so 5 ones are 5 threes are. So if it is traveling with 54 km per hour, 54 km per hour is quite more under certain circumstances. Then when you apply the brakes, it covers 20 meter of distance. Before it is going to halt, it covers 20 meter of distance. If it is going with 20 meter per second, 20 into 18 by 5, 5 ones are 5 fours are. So if it is moving with 72 km per hour speed, high speed, then it will be covering 34 km of stopping distance. Very, very dangerous. In case if the vehicle is going with very high speed, like 25 meter per second, 25 into 5 by 18 by 5, 25 into 18 by 5, 5 ones are 5 fives are, 18 fives are 90. If it is moving with 90 km per hour, you can observe it's going to cover a distance of 50 meter. Very, very dangerous. This is the meaning of the stopping distance, which is depending on the square of the velocity. ds is directly proportional to square of the velocity. This is a very important factor in order to decide the speed limits. Stopping distance is an important factor in setting up the speed limits. For examples like busy zones, like school zones, where movement of children will be very frequent. Children can be running on the road at any moment. And that speed limit is fixed. It will be around about 20 km per hour. So that by applying the brakes, vehicle can be brought to halt immediately and safely we can avoid the accidents. So this is the importance of stopping distance. Based on this concept of stopping distance, now we will be able to solve a problem. This is asked by Karthik, as I said. A bullet moving with the speed of 100 meter per second can penetrate two planks of equal thickness. The bullet, let us say this is a bullet, moving with the speed of 100 meter per second. Let me take this speed as initial speed before it penetrates the wooden planks. Let it be u. It can penetrate two planks before it is completely stopped. If width of each plank is w, then total width of both the planks becomes 2 times w. So this is the distance covered before it is completely brought to rest. So let me take this distance as stopping distance. This distance as stopping distance. The moment it starts penetrating the wooden plank, its speed goes on decreasing, and finally after covering this stopping distance ds, its final speed becomes 0. That's the meaning. If that is the case, and u is given here 100 meter per second, that we will use it later. The question is, if the speed of the bullet is doubled, the same bullet speed is doubled, then what happens to the stopping distance? Means how many such number of wooden planks required? How many such number of wooden planks required in order to stop the bullet, speeding bullet. See, options are 6, 10, 4, 8. This is a CET problem appeared in 2007. KCET problem appeared in 2007. Now, after understanding this concept of stopping distance, you know stopping distance is directly proportional to square of the initial speed. So, if the initial speed is doubled, then what happens to stopping distance? Stopping distance becomes 4 times. So, that is the important thing. So, if you remember this equation, we know that stopping distance ds is equal to u square upon 2a, where a is the retardation, u is the initial speed. Now, here, if the speed is doubled, then let me take that new speed as u dash. U dash becomes 2 times the earlier speed. Means if u is 100 meter per second, u dash becomes 200 meter per second. Then what happens to the distance of penetration? The distance or length of penetration, you can say length of penetration. ds dash is equal to u dash square by 2a, u dash square upon 2a, d dash. Now this ds is given in terms of width of 2 planks, right? So this ds is given in width of 2 planks. That is 2 times width of each plank. They are of equal width, therefore 2 times width of each plank. Now substitute the value of u dash. If you substitute the value of u dash, then it becomes 4 times u square upon 2a, because u dash is 2u, so 2u whole square. 2u whole square becomes 4 times u dash u square upon 2a. Don't cancel 2 with 4. So I can write this one as 4 times u square upon 2a. 4 times u square upon 2a, because I know what is the value of u square upon 2a. Thus, b dash, new distance of penetration, is equal to 4 times u square upon 2a. U square upon 2a is ds. So it becomes 4 times ds. It becomes 4 times the initial distance of penetration. That is 4 into 2w. 4 into 2 times width of each plank. Means 2 planks. So it becomes 4 to the 8. 8 times width of each plank. Therefore, number of such wooden planks required now will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It requires 8 such planks before it is brought to completely form. So the answer is, from the given data, answer is D, that is 8. 8 planks are required. So number of such planks penetrated by the bullet when the speed is doubled is 8. So important thing to be noted here is that distance, stopping distance is directly proportional to square of the initial velocity. If the initial velocity is increased by 2 times, the stopping distance increases by 4 times. If the initial speed is increased by 3 times, stopping distance increases by 9 times. This is the important thing that is to be understood from this numerical problem. There are such numerical problems even from the exercises. Simple problems are there. Please solve them. Here, thing to be noted is that the acceleration in the first case as well as in the second case we have taken same retardation, so that we can apply the same third equation of motion and we will be able to solve this. Now let us go back to what we have studied earlier. We know if vector A is any general vector, maybe position vector, maybe velocity vector, maybe acceleration vector. In general, let us say vector A is any general vector. Then this vector A can be represented in two ways. Vector A can be represented in terms of its x and y components. X and y components of vectors are called as rectangular components of vector. Ax is the x component of vector A. By drawing a perpendicular from the head of the vector A on the x-axis, we get x component of vector A. X component of vector A is given by Ax. And similarly, by drawing a perpendicular on the y-axis, we get y component of the vector. This is the y component of vector. So x component Ax, y component Ay are not the vectors. They are just the magnitudes. They are just the lengths. So Ax and Ay are not the vectors. But when you write vector A as Ax I cap, so Ax I cap gives you, suppose this is M and this is N. The Ax I cap gives you the complete OM vector. Then Ay cap, this Ay is same as this Ay multiplied by unit vector j cap gives you this complete vector. So Ay j cap. So Ay j cap gives you y component vector. So a vector can be expressed in terms of its rectangular components like x component and y component using unit vectors I and j. I told you earlier, I cap is the unit vector along x-axis, j cap is unit vector along y-axis, k cap is unit vector along z-axis. This is first way of representing a vector. Second way of representing a vector is by its magnitude and direction. When we write its magnitude and direction, then only the vector is completely described. Magnitude of a vector is given by ax square plus ay square. This we have done in the last session, if you remember. Squaring this ax and squaring this ay and adding them. Ax square plus ay square gives you a square cos square theta plus a square sin square theta on the right hand side. So cos square theta plus sin square theta if you take out, you are left with a square as common. So ax square plus ay square is equal to a square, where a is the magnitude of vector A. Then finding the direction of vector A. In what direction vector A is pointing? So that is found out using tan theta. Tan theta is equal to opposite by the base, opposite by the adjacent. This is opposite of theta and this is the adjacent of the angle theta. So opposite by adjacent gives you tan theta. Tan theta is equal to ay by ax. Therefore, the angle theta with respect to x axis, theta is equal to tan inverse of ay by ax. So this will be helpful while we are going to solve the problems. Now let us next study the vector addition by analytical method. Vector addition by analytical method. Previously we have studied vector addition by triangular law of vector addition by triangular method and vector addition by parallelogram method. So both are called as graphical method. Now vector addition by analytical method means if the vectors are given in terms of components. Let us say that there are two vectors on a xy plane. Let us say that there are two vectors. Vector A is equal to ax I cap plus ay j cap. And another vector is there, which is also on xy plane. This is ax I cap, and somewhere one more vector is there. A, you can say that this is vector b, which is in the same way. If you draw components, this becomes say bx, and this becomes by. So in the same way, you write vector b on the same plane xy plane, bx I cap plus by j cap, where bx and by are the x component of vector b and by is the y component of vector b. If I want to add vector a with vector b, vector a plus vector b is equal to, write it as it is, ax I cap plus ay j cap plus bx I cap plus by j cap. Now you see the x component ax, bx, that x components ax and bx are having the common factor, that is I cap. So we can club them in one bracket. Ax plus bx I cap plus, the same way y components, you see j cap is the common for y components, ay plus by, this becomes j cap. So ax plus bx I cap, ay plus by j cap. Suppose the vector sum of a and b is giving us new vector c. If it is giving us new vector c, then this new vector c will be having its x component as cxi and y component as cy j cap. So if vector a plus vector b is equal to vector c, then comparing this, ax plus bx must give you cx, ay plus by must give you cy, so that vector a plus vector b is equal to vector c. So comparing these, I can write this is equal to ax plus bx I cap plus ay plus by j cap. So this implies cx component, x component of the resultant vector. C vector can be taken as resultant vector. Cx component is equal to ax plus bx. Cy is equal to ay plus by. Even if there is any subtraction of a vector, suppose there is any other vector, suppose it is a d vector which is given by dxi plus dyj. If I want to add these two vectors and subtract d vector from the sum, then it becomes vector a plus vector b plus minus vector d, vector a plus vector b minus vector d, then it becomes ax plus bx minus dx I cap. Recall once again, repeat it, ax plus bx minus dx I cap plus ay plus by minus dy j cap. In this way we can have vector addition, and this method of vector addition, you see, this is called analytical method, wherein we are adding the components. X components are added, y components are added separately, and thus we get addition of vectors by analytical method. Even if it is having three components, if it is, for example, if vector A has all the three components, axi plus ayj plus cy ayj plus A, Z, K, all three components. And B, this is next problem I am saying. If B is Bxi plus Byj plus Bzk, then if there is any vector like vector D is equal to Dxi plus Dyj plus Dzk. If I want to carry out both addition and subtraction, suppose the operation is like this: vector A plus vector B minus vector D. So you have to write vector A as this complete, vector B as this complete right hand side, and vector D minus of this one as complete. Now I can very easily write by this analytical method. Directly I can write Ax plus Bx minus Dx. That's it. Ax plus Bx minus Dx I cap plus Ay plus By minus Dy. Ay plus By minus Dy. J cap. Taking care that J cap is the common. Next, Z component. Z component becomes Az plus Bz minus Bz into K cap. So this becomes the resultant of vector A plus vector B minus vector D. This you can call any other vector, say vector C. So that vector C will be having x component given by Ax plus Bx minus Dx, y component given by Ay plus By minus Dy, and z component will be given by Az plus Bz minus Dz. So this will be helpful while solving the problems of vector addition and vector subtraction by analytical method. Thank you. Have a good day.